We'll be here for days. We've said all that we need to say. Focus on my breath. Listen to my chest. Let the pressure fade away. I don't wanna talk anymore. I just wanna believe that every time we touch, that we touch is a sweet release. So hold me in your arms, I want you to leave. 'Cause every time we Would you lay with me, baby? Flee this place for a daydream. Hold my hand, it'll save me. Up all night, will you take me? Up all night, will you take me? Hold my hand, it'll save me. Up all night, will you take me? Take me, take me, take me, take me.
I see you standing at the front of the land, waiting for something I can't make out, but I wanna talk to you to pull you aside. I wanna ask you to come with me tonight. I wanna stay by your side.
All right, what's up, guys? All right, what's up, everybody? What's happening? Good morning. Hope y'all are feeling amazing. Woke up grateful. Hope you got some fresh air already. You know, maybe you went for a walk. Maybe you hit the gym. A little stretching, some breathing. All right, let me get some charts up here for you all. Okay, closing that. Here we go. So I hope you guys were able to catch the newsletter from Monday. I actually posted it in the community on yesterday as well. Hope you guys ever catch that, read that. If not, then feel free to go. And if you are specifically wanting the newsletter, then you can go to tradetopia.store and you'll see a little newsletter there, or tradetopia.beehive. Otherwise, check it on the school. I usually post it every week as well on there. Make sure you guys get a little dose of value. But this morning, there's a few things I want to take a look at. We got a big day today. Big day. FOMC interest rates are basically at this point like they're going to drop. But the question is, what does that do to the market specifically? What's the initial start to this? I think big picture, we're still going to keep pushing. And I know it's a little hard to believe considering that we are up. Like the markets do not want to drop. So I feel like FOMC and interest rates dropping, since the assumption would be that things would keep going up. I think we're going to have a short-term drop and then just kind of pick things up pretty quickly, maybe by end of the week. But let's dive in. Let's look at some charts. And remember, I will be live again in about 4.5 hours. So 15 minutes before FOMC, I'll be live again. That way we can take a look at kind of what's going on. What can we wait for? What can we expect here out of the markets? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what we're going to be doing. And then tonight we'll also have a crypto and stock session hosted by Nancy. But with that being said, let's dive right in. Okay, so we'll start with indices. We'll work our way to metals, and then oil, so energy, and then we'll look at some majors. What are these dollar pairs doing? And then we'll look at stocks and crypto. So just so you guys have a good outline on what today's session can look like. Now, yesterday we saw a nice... Honestly, I didn't end up doing anything yesterday as much as I wanted to trade something. Just didn't get what I wanted. So, but we did have a couple interesting movements, and I'll start off actually not with S&P. I'll start off with Dow, because Dow's chart is a little different from everything else. So Dow actually ended up dipping down pretty significantly, trading all the way back down to this imbalance over here. So we end up getting below New York Open finally. From Tuesday's New York Open, we trade into imbalances, and we trade right down into this zone. Now, I wouldn't say that indices had equal lows over here, at least not Dow. There was a little bit of a spike before the continuation, but there definitely is more imbalance down here. So we'll keep an eye on what price action looks like. Clearly, Dow has moved very differently than NQ has. Much more bullish to start things off. So, we're 11 minutes away from New York Open, so I'm going to go one chart at a time. Once we get closer to the Open, then I'll have split screen action going on. But, yeah, right now, a couple different things. So let's take a look at this from left to right. So here's what we have going on. We've established our London session lows, And these London session lows specifically swept liquidity here. So Asian session liquidity gets taken out with this move. So here's where you can see the buildup of retail buyers. Then we get the market to trade down into imbalance over here. So nice little structure play. Okay, so let's just dive into this a little bit more. Really, this entire zone is a massive sell-off. So within this area, we could start to consider reversals probable in here. Now, where I would pick up a bit more, where I'd be more open to actually taking a position would be based on where we've seen a bit more of reversals, kind of like the last point of supply, support resistance. And here in this area is where we've seen reversals more frequently. You saw the market dropped out of here, and then here's also where we started to get some reversals. So in this area, this is where I would be more keen on taking positions. So you can see resistance, support. So I'll just draw that out right here for you guys. So you kind of see right here key areas. So now that we could come back here and there's additional motive to make this reverse with the exchange of sellers to buyers right there. This is where I would be looking for positions. Before, though, I commit to something like this, I do want to point out that I have to consider what else is going on in the market. So trading into this area, specifically a little bit lower, where we've seen this last little bearish move, this last little order block before the continuation. This is what I'm open to. Now, that's looking at the buy side. Now, here's where I know there's also some interest. You had an aggressive move to the upside right here. This move is like that last push. And this one here, I think probably took out a few sellers as well. Not a big move up. This is really like 2 points, maybe 3. So the high over here at 48,118, whereas the high over here was 48,116, so 2 points higher, not a whole lot. And then the other thing that we need to consider is what is structure doing with NQ. NQ is more just sideways. This is very sideways. I do not love price action for buys, really for sells either here with NASDAQ. Not a whole lot going on. This looks more like squeezing. This looks more like it's just actually building up buyers and sellers. So I'm not really in love with anything NASDAQ related at all. And then S&P, this might look very familiar, right? So we're looking at least with the most recent price action, just more and more liquidity over here. So breaking through these trend line at some point seems likely. With Dow working its way very bullish to start this session off, pre-New York Open. Look at how little NQ and S&P have moved, while Dow is still pushing higher and higher and higher. So let's say I wasn't going to consider anything else happening in the market, cool, sure, you can take a short on Dow. But that's not necessarily how I play this. So it does matter to me. So I'd say tread lightly if you're going to do this. Do whatever you want. You guys trade you're trading your own money. You're doing your own thing. I'm not going to take it, but feel free to do as you please. Now the other things that make sense to me, now taking a look at and NASDAQ and S&P, is the following. So yesterday we get a nice push to the downside over here. clearing the New York session low that it had already established. Not that it goes anywhere too low. Like, it's not like we get below London session lows or any of the Asian session liquidity over here. So, I mean, we don't really take out a whole bunch, but this does take out the last lows that were established during New York session before it runs. So if I'm looking at NQ, and I like for us to consider it, and I'm going to zoom out even more, but I do want us to consider the extremes situation. So where are we at on the very extreme of this? And what I mean by that is if FOMC has the volatility to drop aggressively, like I wouldn't put it out of the equation for it to drop down into this gap. Like, that to me isn't a crazy idea with new interest rates, press conference. Like, it's just possible. But if we're going to drop down to here, this would be an area where maybe we can get a reversal. But as always, I do want to consider I'm going to place an alert here. So if we get up here, at least those that want to or are considering something like this, you could take that if you want to. But like I mentioned, it's not really for me. Para los que están en español, aquí muchos creo que buscarían ventas, pero no. Yo no voy a vender, ya que no tenemos mismo tipo de acción de precio con Nasdaq ni S&P 500. Entonces yo me quedo fuera de Dow Jones. But yeah, so we have that NQ push down there. And then we have S&P doing something similar. S&P, if we zoom out a little bit more, we can see that same push down. This does a good job taking out, a lot of support here. And then we get the reversal. So here you have a nice drop and then a continuation. And to make this even more detailed, more precise, we can really go look at where things start to fall off from, and it's really starting off like right there. Big sell-off, and then the market rallies. All right, so if we're thinking about trading really within the last 24, 36 hours, like that range, yeah, this is what it looks like. If we're trading within this 15-minute structure, great. If the market can pursue where the week started, which is way down here, this is another area to consider. So I'm gonna just put a note here and say, let's see. FOMC, this is massive. It's a little too obnoxious. FOMC volatility could, I feel like they changed this. This looks good. Be attracted to the open of the week. All right. Okay. We have New York open here in a minute. I know some of you like to look at volume. So when the market spiked up to here, very low volume spike, if you notice there. So this is actually a high from yesterday about 1 o'clock, 1:15, about 2 hours before the market closes. And the market was nowhere near that. With NASDAQ, like we're already trading above that, and with S&P. So honestly, I actually do kind of understand this setup. Unfortunately, here it looks like it's starting to reject, even earlier. Let's see. Did I draw this up incorrectly? Okay, you could argue that it was right there. So that might be why. No, it still would have been a little short. So, yeah, shorts out of here. I actually do kind of understand them because it's not the exact same price action. So right there, look at that. It just tapped it and then crashed. Wow. Literally just came in, said it snuck in. Look at, like, hold on. You guys need to see this on the literally within the last 5 seconds, snuck right in there. And then right now, this is mitigation. Look at how it pushed higher. 72-point move. Market has already pushed down well over those 70 points. So that's a wrap. So and I want to communicate how quickly, like at the very last minute, I understood this setup. I was like being, overly cautious. Like, okay, well, what about NASDAQ and S&P? But what I just didn't think about was where this high happened. This high that we're trading out of was from about 1 o'clock. So this is typically, it was 1:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. But the difference was that NASDAQ and S&P were not, like, they're trading already way above this. So technically they are more bullish. Yes, in the most recent price action, sure, Dow had been a bit more aggressive, but it was kind of just catching up to an area that it hadn't traded near. So that is very interesting. Okay, cool. Wish I could have been in that, but also transparently, I wouldn't have pulled the trigger here. My entry would have been higher. I don't take trades off the open, so my entry would have been a little bit higher. And second of all, my exit also would have been lower. So either way, I'm not going to pretend to be like, oh, I would have taken this. I wouldn't have. I would have been in higher, and I would have gotten out lower, so this would have been a wash anyways. Break even. Nice. Sent this idea in the general yesterday. The artist, Esley. Nice. Well, hopefully you protected your money as well. Remember, you don't want to marry your trade either. You want to manage your trade effectively. At this point, I do think that... Chill out, bro. I do think that we have the indices go and clear out. I think we see NQ and S&P probably take out these highs. So I don't really have any desire to take anything else here. I'm not taking any other trades. We saw a nice spike down. This clears out, I don't know, like an hour, 45 minutes worth of buyers. And then that's it, really. So I'm not looking to take any more positions here. No, thank you. I'm good. So, chilling. We have London highs over here that could get targeted. S&P, let's see. Spike down. All right, nothing crazy. So, yeah, in my opinion, yeah, I'm kind of chilling. Unless, this big spike down that we got wasn't necessarily the mitigation. Maybe that's the case. I'm taking a look at this. Where did the market start to pick up some momentum? And it did happen right around here. So right at this low, to me, it looks like we start to rally, take everything out. Maybe even up here, 48.088. One last push before it drops. But, all right, cool. Now the market's volatile, up and down. The fun begins. Yeah, I mean, nothing. I don't have a setup yet. And now you might be thinking, well, did S&P maybe clear liquidity over here on the right side? And what about NQ? Like, is it giving us a new setup with all this momentum? Not for me. What maybe happens, is we saw this clear these highs. Maybe this goes lower. And then if it does, all right, cool. We could look for something here. We could see maybe a shift of structure, and then we can start looking for shorts. That's possible. But it's not confirmed. They're just theories. And when you're looking at the markets as a trader, you need to organize your thoughts. You need to organize and you need to differentiate what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and then just reality, like what's in front of you. So as you approach this, remember you have only the trade in front of you. That's it. Nothing else. So whatever happened yesterday has nothing to do with what's going to happen today, especially with how you operate as a trader, what your outcomes look like all of that. Don't even think. Don't even trip. All right. So just going to give this some more time to print. In the meantime, what I'm going to be looking at here it looks like Nvidia gapped up again. But we'll look at that later. Okay, so we checked indices out. Cool. Let's go look at metals. Let's go look at gold and silver here. All right, so gold continuations. So still pushing on up. We saw the market give us this setup here. And we saw the clearance of the lows, which I talked about there. And then here we go. All right, I can exit out of this, or I can delete this here. So I talked about the market getting into this area. I didn't go low enough to trigger me in, sadly. And then from here, we start to see the market. The market trades from over here. And then we stay here for some time. So we're seeing this is a shakeout, which I didn't see until later. And then it came back, tapped into this order block and rallied. So this really could have been a shakeout setup, a sweep of liquidity. The market comes back. It proves that very little demand down here. It moves sideways for several hours. And then towards the end of, or the beginning of Asian session, pushes back down to continue. So this would have been an Asian session buy. And then a buy here looks something like this. So this is a shakeout case study here. So actually, you know what? I don't know why I don't do this, but I'm going to start doing this more for you guys. Especially here. So I'll do some case studies. Okay. And then honestly, taking this, like where your first exit could be in this scenario, really just taking it to where you see an imbalance fill right there. This is an easy target. So this is that, but I'll actually I'll do more of the case study stuff a little bit later in the session. Just so first we analyze if there are opportunities in general. And then from there we can go into things to study specifically. Okay. So anyways, moving forward, is there anything new to take here? At least would I look to take any positions? No, there's nothing here I would want to take at all. There's not a sell opportunity anywhere, nothing valid for me, just kind of liquidity. Yeah, sadly, there's really nothing until this last pump up here, which we haven't really traded out of. And all we've left behind is actually just liquidity. So for my preferences, not so much. Not really a liquidity sweep, not really even an imbalance, nothing. We had that sell-off here during Asian Open. Continuation. Come back, rebalance again. Yeah, nothing to do here. Silver, on the other hand, has successfully traded beyond this liquidity capture. So with that trendline liquidity, you knew that there's stops above this. So this did a great job at trading up until this range, taking out this liquidity. And now we're starting to see a potential distribution. So silver actually has two quality areas of interest. One that's established and one that requires patience. Like we would need to wait a little bit longer for. So we have this sell-off over here. So here's a big push down. Remember, the reason this is a good zone is because of not just that there's a big drop, but why? What did it do? And this drop specifically takes out these lows, and not just those lows. We see a massive drop. This takes out a month's worth of liquidity and trades into this imbalance and structure. So this is a very intentional, very aggressive liquidity sweep. And that's, I think, the best way to really look at this is something in here. So where would I look for buys? I mean, we've seen the market reverse out of these areas right now. These are kind of the key consistent reversal areas right there. So since we've seen it reject here, I think we can see it reject there again. And this is the kind of entry I would be looking at, or for silver. And then let's zoom out a little. Is this fair? Could this be all that the market needed? Look at how the market failed to stay down here when it was breaking through the structure. Because here we have higher high, higher low, higher high. So in reality, this was the structure. This broke below, unsustainable. Broke below, unsustainable. So, of course, we had the market get below the low, but demand. So price gets below the low, but demand not really there. So this is some of those examples where people believe, okay, oh, we're bearish now. I don't. I do not think that's true. I think we're going to keep pushing with metals. I don't think we're done yet. Now, are we going to pursue high all-time highs again? I don't know, but I'm willing to see this through, at least to fill some of this imbalance, for sure. So, especially with FOMC, I'm with it. I think we have something interesting to see, at least up to here. Now, depending on what happens over here right now, as this session plays on, I mean, maybe that's a different consideration. But I'd say over here, would be like an exit one. Something like this. In the meantime, all right, there goes Dow. Dow's still pushing. Fantastic. This was already, that already did its thing, so we're not looking for anything here. NASDAQ still moving sideways, and S&P still moving sideways. Okay, cool. Silver. This is what I have in consideration today. So here is a silver idea. All right. So we'll just put FOMC's possible setups. Silver here. And then let's get the image. Don't want you guys clicking buttons, of course. Got to make your life easy. Just a little right on there. But if you do want to click it, it's right there for you. Which, actually, I forgot. Let me just publish this thing instead. Easier to track. Publish idea. Wait, what's this option? Speak your mind? What's the difference? Click here to learn more. Interesting. Not a lot of people post in here. What's this? Add a symbol? Did I do that already? Interesting. All right. All right. Let's see. Do we see? Interesting. You know, TradingView having all of this, it's like its own little ecosystem. I don't know how active it is, but it's pretty interesting. All right. Looks like a textbook mitigation play. Looking for last point of supply for refined entry. And then right now, since we were seeing in the small time frame here, that little possible distribution. So I think I'd look for an exit. Just depends if that ends up forming or not. Currently on the 5-minute time frame, so possible intraday distribution forming pre-FOMC. So I could consider that as a target if it fully forms before FOMC. Okay. So this is kind of, I guess this is long, but it has to drop first. All right. Share on X. Sure. Okay, that's posted. You guys believe that all this is free? Crazy, man. Let's see. I'm going to unpin the psychology one. If you guys haven't read this one, if you guys ever just are like, man, I need some psychology, you can always just go to this little tab right there, the psychology tab, and then you can see whether it's from me or from somebody else. Harshi always dropping value in here. Daniel, Edwin. I didn't even see this one. Like everyone else, you want to learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose. To accept defeat, to learn to die, is to be liberated from it. So when tomorrow comes, you must free your ambitious mind and learn the art of dying. I have to respond in there. I don't think I did. But anyways, yeah, you guys can always find some value in there. So I'm going to unpin this so I can get the setups that we'll go over during the session in here. Okay. And again, remember, we will be live for the actual open of interest rates and the press conference. So it'll be a good session. How do these show up in here? Interesting. All right, anyways. Cool, that's silver. And then if we're looking at gold, we'll kind of just see like how does the market work its way down. Gold looks already more efficient, so I feel like silver should work its way over here. But we'll see. Pretty cool. I mean, markets, that silver's hit 53. Wow. I remember buying silver for the first time. Like, I think it was like $12 or something. Or 17, was it? There's a chart I should have still marked up here somewhere. Let's see, maybe it's this one. Where is it? I had a chart just saved on here for forever. Maybe it's this one. Maybe not. No, maybe not. Huh. Well. Yeah, it picks them up around here. And I was in PR, so it was like 20. It was like at 14 and change. Damn. We up. Not bad. Not bad. I wonder if we ever come back here. Like, do we ever come back? Do we ever see this come back to like this weekly absolute meltdown? Maybe not. We shall see, my friends. Okay. Anyways, with that being said, let's go take a look at a couple other things. That covers metals for now as well. And then what we haven't looked at has been oil for today. So is oil giving any setups, any opportunity? We've been just working our way down. Oil, I'm just really not into right now. Our short from the other day, it looks like we pinned the high on that one. After liquidity swept here, we started to rally. Didn't get the full pullback to here, which is interesting. I'm curious to see why not. And we've started to work our way back down here first. So looks like in the process of getting up to here, the market wants to do this in two legs. So instead of just like one send up to here, continuation, a pullback, another continuation, which kind of makes sense. The way we worked our way down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right now we're seeing this kind of move, extension. We're within the retracement, about a 38.2 pullback at the moment. I think we more than likely get down to here again, in between that 786, 886 pullback, and then we get another rally. That's probably likely to happen. So I'd love to be in a short. I just don't have a setup to take, unfortunately. The other idea that I could see maybe for sells, I mean, All right. You have this. Nah, this isn't good either. You do have a nice little sweep up here, but then this just makes liquidity. The only other thing would maybe just be over here. Like you had a push up, which still just makes, I don't know. I think I just need a new setup entirely. We would have to go and then just something would have to give us a shift in momentum. Just a completely like new setup is the only thing that's really going to work for, at least for me. All right, so oils, my thoughts are that we can work our way down back to 57, below sub 57, but I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into a sell to be able to take that. If we get something, fantastic. If not, it is what it is. I haven't checked in the chat, so what's up with y'all? How we doing in the chat, guys? Y'all good? Alpha didn't enter me again and then tripled my stop loss. What? Why? You know what? I laughed, didn't take any other trade, and went to the gym. That's definitely progress. Why did it triple it? Oh, everything just popped in here. It wasn't loading. My bad. Saludos. What's up, Mike? Has anything hit your entry? I don't have anything open. I like a silver buy later, but it's gotta drop a lot. Buenos dias, Steven. Buenos dias, Diego. Best value in the game. Wild. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, you know. Hi, chat. What's up, Paul? Well, yeah, hopefully. I mean, you got to figure out what's up with Alpha. A triple your stop loss doesn't make any sense. What were you trading? At least your buy order on ENPH got triggered. Did it drop? Did we get a big drop? All right, well, we can do that now. We can go take a look at peso still squeezing. I'll tell you what, guys. I think today is when the peso will break out. I mean, there's a lot of liquidity here, so maybe we end up kind of like in this range. Down over here somewhere. Don't want you guys to be too spread thin and unorganized, but I could see the market come back to the zone, take out a good, what's the date tonight? But yeah, 9 days worth of, 2 weeks worth of trading almost. So I could see this. Big sweep, market rallies. This looks like it's got some potential. Okay, now, stocks. Some stocks. No Lucid. Come on, get me in there. Don't you dare go yet. So, all right, let's get this post going too. So I haven't made a nice little stocks post. So stocks, I'll figure out what the title of that's going to be later. Here, I want to see one more push down. So another move into here. Sub 17, and then see this thing run. Even just this move, which is, I think, could happen very quickly. That's 40%. Oh yeah. This I like. This I like. So let's get this going here. I'm gonna tell you, right? This is high risk, high reward here. So I would say right here, this is a high risk, high reward. Financially, not the most. I'd say, let me refresh that. Financials not looking great, but backed by Saudi money. So debt can be held for significant time. Potential EV just disruptor. Okay. So that's Lucid. I guess I'll be more specific too. Looking for sub 17 entries. Okay. Let's see. So Snap also getting closer and closer. I want to see it just crack below a lot of this liquidity first. This I didn't take my time to look at Whirlpool, unfortunately. So sorry about that, guys. I will add that. I will do today. Trendline liquidity kind of building up here. Earnings. This is the earnings excitement as well. I understand a dollar cost average with this, for sure. We talked about how this was, it's trading at this COVID lows. So before I post this, I need to break this one down still. And then outside of that, let's see. Intel. I told you guys yesterday I took my initial out. So we're up like 100%. So everything that's in there is just profits now. That's running smoothly. I'm still holding Chewy, by the way. Yesterday we saw PayPal jump up like crazy after it already gapped it all down and rebalanced it, which is funny. It just came up to mitigate here, and then it just came right back down. But they OpenAI and PayPal have a partnership. PayPal is going to be the first wallet on OpenAI, available for OpenAI. So that was that news. I feel like we still go lower for whatever reason. Celsius with some pullbacks. I've already taken money out of this as well. I am looking for another exit at $90. Etsy with a 10% drop. All right. Would love if we get Etsy back down to here, sub 60. I'm open to that. Shoals with another. Yo, what the? ENPH, my dog. Give us a break. If anybody wants this guy, it's there. It's at entry again. Or actually a little below dollar cost average entry. Okay. All right. That's kind of a quick little recap of what's going on right now. Would prefer to see this go, Lucid go a little bit under, and then we will just kind of chop it up and down. And yeah, NVIDIA just released a whole bunch of stuff yesterday, so that obviously helped earnings reports. Partnership with Nokia as well. Hi, chat. I don't fuck with Alpha Trader anymore. They fake. All right, cool. I don't know anything about them. I don't have them. What happened? I was selling YM and it literally tripled on a raw account. I'm giving up with CFDs because my data this week, if I had taken on futures, would have been outstanding. Yeah, I don't know who's their broker. So profitmatch.com. These guys might have something here. Is it Alpha Capital, just like this one? Brandon, let me know. Yeah. Okay. Who's their broker? Is it their stuff? Is it like their own broker? Or who are they operating with? Andrew Blaylock, George Kohler. Payment methods. Oh, they have their own broker, ACG Markets. Interesting. Raw. Commissions. Oh, they have a lot of rules too. Traders must ensure that the average duration of all their trades exceeds 2 minutes. At least 50% of the requested profits must come from trades that exceed 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, they restrict a lot of countries. Dang. Yeah, I don't know much about these guys. That's unfortunate, though. But yeah, moving on, it might be better to just rock with futures. Okay, indices. So let's get a good look at where we're at. As communicated, London highs have been taken. And now we're working our way lower. So, could this be the beginning of a beautiful short opportunity? Could it be that we see a nice little short somewhere over here? Could it be that we can pin the high, at least for the day, right over here? Well, my friends, maybe. Let's let the market show us. Let's see if it wants to keep trading down here. And if we do get some, solid bearish movement, we stay here for a while, we could look for a short. So, you know what? I always forget I could just do this, I think. Never mind. Where do you reel all the news? What's up? Okay, so in regards to contract sizes and all that jazz, I would start to get ready for a possible short on something like Dow Jones. Just have your, know what your lot size will look like, your contract size will look like. So make sure that's all set in stone. All right, so I'm just drawing this up here on my side. All right, take an NQ. All right, cool. Looks like we're in business over here. And then I'm not going to set a limit yet. I kind of want to see a bit more demand down here, but I am going to be ready. Or you could set a limit. I mean, you never know if there can just be something that like out of nowhere comes in and just like pushes it higher. So you don't necessarily have to have a limit set until it's really confirmed. But just know, okay, here's what I would do in case we were to take a position, right? So at least I'm going to have it almost pending, kind of like written out, ready to go. All right. All right, that is the case for indices. If we start to get closer, I'll have another alert here set up. Okay. Now, we haven't gone into crypto yet. So Ski has been a little infuriating, I'll be honest. Really close to getting hitting TP here, collecting I think like 40-50%. Melted. Yesterday we were up as well and came back down. Today, fluctuations some more. So really volatile. Honestly, if you want to catch little 10% moves, it's happening frequently on here. So that's a whole other game. But outside of that, we have like a couple coins are starting to push, like Caspa, Sol again, just eating up yesterday's price action. But if we wanted to take a look at, our trusty old Bitcoin, how's Bitcoin looking for this type of trading environment? Will FOMC have a bearish move on Bitcoin? Will it be bullish? The last drop that we really saw was this move over here. Took out those lows before it ran. So it came one notch lower, played out where we've seen support before. Then we had a rally. So that's one area where we could see some sort of movement in. We've yet to get into the 105s again. Anything's possible, in my opinion, with FOMC. So it is what it is. And then we had yesterday's mitigation out of here, the continuation to the downside. So could we get another sell if we push higher today? Maybe. Bitcoin already is starting to... So we have imbalance, so market can get up to here. There's motive for that. We have already traded out of here, so I don't think we're really looking to trade anywhere up here for any reversals. This market, we saw a continuation to the upside, pullback, retracement. So the market's very efficient over here before that last push down. So if I were to be in some sort of buy position somewhere, exits over here in this imbalance around like 114,700 makes sense to me. And then what we just saw here with the last, before New York Open, we saw the market work all the way up to this area and then push lower. So if we see Bitcoin really hold it down over here, like just hold this, like just keep trading lower, then I like a possibility for a short over here. We just might see a nice little sell out of here. Just maybe. Around 113,500. It's looking like this could happen though. Okay, NQ. Staying bearish. Starting to build up liquidity over here. All right. So here's the outlook. Beautiful sweep of liquidity. London highs taken out. Excellent. This is obviously more all-time highs. Fantastic. From here we see the market. Let me take a look at this here. Oh, no way. All right. So from here, yeah, we've set the highs. Same thing. Dow has already done something similar. And then S&P also took out these highs, traded down into this area. Maybe some of you wanted to buy Dow or S&P here. We just took out liquidity. So it's pretty typical for the market to want to kind of like, rebalance here, get a reversal. This doesn't always sustain. It might just go down. It could go up. But this wasn't for me enough of a confirmation. We didn't really trade up here. We didn't get higher highs for too long to say like, oh yeah, let me just keep buying this thing up. For me, I'm not, especially with FOMC here coming up. So not necessarily my idea. And like I mentioned, I wanted to short NASDAQ. We took out the highs. We worked our way down. We've been working our way down. But now, is this enough? Have we traded down here for enough time to say, okay, sure, let's sell this thing? What do you guys think? For me right now we're starting to see Dow, which also took out the highs, worked its way down. Dow is very slow in working its way up here now. So gonna let NQ kind of play out. If it takes longer still, like let's say right now we're up here, but we come back down again and we keep moving sideways, I'm still open for this. But if right now we just fly right back up here and then Dow is really slow and moving up, then I won't take it. Let me translate real quick. Los que están aquí, hablo español. Me gustaba la idea de vender Nasdaq aquí arriba, pero como pueden ver, si Nasdaq no mantiene estos bajos y Dow es más lento en subir, entonces ya no me gusta igual la idea. Entonces prefiero que se mantenga por aquí abajo y si después subimos aquí arriba, ahí sí podríamos vender. So let's, I sound like a broken record, but let's give it time. What are my overall thoughts on Caspa? I don't really like do anything with it. I think it'll probably do okay. Yeah, I just don't really care that much. I'm not like in there or anything, but I think it'll do well. Yeah, it's not like a coin for me. I get it. I get the idea behind it, but I'm not necessarily in there. All right, so yeah, right now and here we have what we're doing. Here's what we're doing here. So just so we have more of an understanding, there's a lot of retail buy liquidity here, like tons. Now my issue with this trade, which would have been great, but now the question becomes, is Dow a better idea? Like, could Dow be a better short? For example, right now, Dow is going lower. So is Nasdaq. On the way back up, what's going to have a higher probability of staying below the previous high? The way I'm looking at this right now, Dow is now trading lower and lower. Price action is looking good. I would rather wait and see if we get up here again. Okay, well, where's NQ looking? So that's all it is. Now for me, it's just correlation, divergence and correlation, and then pull the trigger on whatever makes sense. Or if it's like, I don't know which one to choose, then you can go half risk on both. Now remember, very, very important that we keep this in mind. We have FOMC later. So how the market sets up. One, there's no rush. Two, remember, things can get very volatile, extremely volatile. So make sure you have your stops where you're supposed to. Make sure you're leveraged appropriately. You could get slipped, so be mindful of that. Thank you. Now that I've sneezed, there goes the market, right? So, okay. So here's what we see. Now we wait. I'm open, especially with the way that the market's moving right now. We're trading 300 points above these buys on Dow. That looks solid. Could get that. But like I also mentioned, we got a long way. Like, we still have 3.5 hours, almost 3 hours and 40 minutes basically from the release. So depending on what the market looks like, we might be able to even get into these gaps or trade into this structure over here. Got a long way to go, guys. Because, NQ has just been non-stop, man. Jesus. Like, you had the push down, the rally. So all the way down here. I just wouldn't be surprised. All right, so some updates here. This is holding up pretty decent. Like right now, we had the sweep of the high, the break and retest. So this is actually building up buyers at support as well, luring more and more in here. We're seeing Dow Jones break, and then you have the previous high right there. So this is definitely doing break retest as well, luring in more and more buyers where we used to see resistance. That's a typical entry model for retail trading. And now I think it just comes down to the market coming back up to here and then seeing shorts. So something like this we might be able to see. Or it's NQ. And we get the drop over here. And then we trade. At least take these out. I think we'll probably end up taking out London lows, but at least this liquidity. Bitcoin still pushing lower. Honestly, Bitcoin looks like the better sell out of any of them. Oh, this is what I didn't go over. I totally forgot. Majors. Okay, so yesterday we saw Australian mitigate. This setup I had sent out, I believe, a couple days ago. Yeah, so that's drafted in there. We can go pull that up in a little bit. Do you want to update? We'll add more. Okay. Gold smacked in caps. Someone's very happy. Clean, very clean. 1 minute. I'm interested why you wrote you marked up liquidity, but you still took the 1 minute buy. What's the point? Okay. All right. So Tradetopia trades. Here we go. And then here was it yesterday or 2 days ago. Right. Here was the setup. No, I didn't share some of the sell I must have sent at a different time. But anyways, here was the sell. It was during agent session, so I guess I just didn't see the alert. But this was a great trade. Whether you took it wherever you took it in the zone, let's just say you took it right there. We had previous levels of resistance here and here. So the entry could have been very, 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 very precise. But even without that, market gave a great reversal, did about a 3R before coming back up again. And then right now we're kind of chopping. So, but either way, this was a great setup. Is there anything else over here? Not quite. Not for me, at least. Not with Australian. Pound still going lower. Lower and lower and lower. Okay, remember, I talked about this with without, because this one doesn't really give us a ton of data. I don't know if the continuous chart is going to be off or not. This is the downside of futures and contracts, is if you go too far back. Like if you go back months, now the data's a little different. So I don't know if this is already like in the zone, if you will. Obviously, it started to sell off from way up here, but there was a lower drop that we saw as well. For swing trade ideas, I mean, yeah, not bad from up here. Well, it wouldn't, if it were 4 hours ago, it would have been great. I still think there's a chance we go lower. So I'll send an alert, see if we go lower. Okay. That brings us to CAD futures. Now, yesterday, I didn't take CAD futures because we had Australian that was still pending. So that I'm mindful of. So this had, it's still mitigated regardless, but it wouldn't have been an entry because of Australian. We had Euro play out super nice yesterday. This was beautiful, this setup right here. Mitigated. I know we saw this like minutes too late. The yen, NZD. So remember we were looking for NZD shorts. Now I wanted to trade this because of how we took out liquidity and then came crashing down. Now the reason I didn't pursue this further after that happened is because we kind of already saw the market sell out of this zone with the pound. We already saw it come into here and then just bleed out. And then everything else is really bullish. So I'm actually kind of confused on what NZD is doing. It's built up a ton of liquidity. So I don't know if we're just going to keep going higher. Are we going to finally clear this out? Like what's going to happen here? If we were to get a brand new short like area, I think I'd prefer that. But that's what I have with majors. Not really a whole bunch. I don't know if you guys have some clear setups with dollar-based pairs. I'm definitely open to it. Okay, so here we are. Now, getting a bit more evidence. The beauty of just, okay, let the candles print. Let the candles print. Now what are we seeing? Okay, Dow Jones picked up a bit more momentum. We're trading back into this imbalance over here now. All right. So what has more bullish momentum? Dow. So what could give us a better sell? NQ. We could look at S&P. S&P, decent. Looks really similar to NASDAQ. S&P broke below. It's pretty, S&P and NQ are pretty similar at this point. So for the sake of clarity, it does seem like we can get the because this looks like it's luring in tons of buyers too. So it seems like we can get a good short out of NASDAQ or S&P. Maybe you want to open up your stop a little bit. Cool. Definitely respect that. So let me go ahead and add this last setup for our trades. So we have basically NQ versus S&P. And that would be the market dropping out of here. There's a little extra little move right there, this last one. Why are you being so crazy? All right, there we go. All right. It's in there. In there now. S&P slightly more delayed. I wonder if it's because of Dow. What is Dow doing now? Okay, but I do want to add this though. This I guess this makes a difference. When we saw the sweep of liquidity We see it clear the highs, and then we see it drop. The one thing that's a little bit iffy about this is that it actually gets below where it even started to pump from. So another point of view is that it didn't break structure to the downside. It failed to do so. I wouldn't say NASDAQ did. NASDAQ just came to make equal lows, whereas S&P cleared the lows, so it cleared out liquidity, and then made its move. Same thing with, with Dow it was a little different, right? Dow, it was cleared the highs, briefly came down, coming back up. So I am leaning towards NASDAQ for the short. Make sure my data feed here is all good. Huh. Oh, why is this frozen? Damn. Anyone else having top step issues? Or is that just me? Anyone lose their API? Disconnect? Let me know. Mine is, yeah, for sure frozen. I'm not going to be able to take this trade, at least not on there. Maybe on mobile. All right, let's see if I can get logged in on mobile. Maybe it's my computer or something. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm good on here. This damn computer. The second one. All right, so cool. Right now we're getting closer to an area here where we could sell from, or where I'm going to sell from. Of course, you guys do whatever you want. And then there's S&P. Where is Dow? Dow moving sideways. So I don't know. This is really like everything is going sideways, back and forth. What's making up? Who's doing what? Seems like S&P is holding this better, and they would want to trade into this over here later on. So maybe S&P is a better trade. Look at all this liquidity building up as well over here. Tons of retail buyers. So shorts make sense. It's just a matter of what's gonna get up here. Yeah. So in between S and NQ. Now, this has been doing this for the last, 20 minutes or so. And actively, NQ is significantly closer to getting up into this zone. So now it's seeming like, all right, so does NQ make more sense? Or does S&P make more sense? Which it seems like it does. So I'm going to wait. And I think I'm going to take ES instead of NQ, at least based off of what it looks like now in real time. We'll see. I'm going to end the stream here. We've been in here for like 90 minutes or so. So if NQ gets up here, right now, and S&P is still slow, still below, I'm just going to wait for S&P to get up to here. And then we'll make a decision from there. Right now, we're seeing how Dow came up, worked its way back down. Maybe it goes up again. But it's not like the cleanest setup for Dow either. At least here, we kind of get a bit more. We can see the buildup of sellers and buyers. So a sweep of liquidity, a sweep down of liquidity, a little bit of both. Looks pretty decent. So it looks like we're about to see the market get to activate or get into NQ zone, but not quite MES. Yeah, all right. So there you have it. All right, short position. I'm doing just contracts and all that good stuff for MES right now. All right, here we go. That doesn't make sense. That's way too many contracts. That can't be right. Ah, there we go. That makes much more sense. All right. I'm ready to roll when we get there. So NQ got into the zone, already into this imbalance where we wanted to short from. S&P lagging behind a little bit. Typical. Dow came back down, filling some imbalance. Maybe we go a little bit higher. I like MES because it's kind of in between both at the moment. So it looks like a safer opportunity. Something's telling me that we're going to end up getting a price action flip where, like, right now this one's lagging behind, but then all of a sudden NQ is the one that drops more aggressively. So I can see something like that playing out too. Curious about something. It's like no volume right now for NQ. So little compared to earlier. All right, guys. What I'm going to do here is going to give you guys the access to the resources, free community on the left, mentorship on the right, a 1-year program. For now, watch your setups. We'll be live again here for FOMC in just about 3 hours. So we'll see you guys there. Any other resources, you can also click the link that's pinned at the top. I think I'm back. And yeah, you can go from there. So anything else, remember we're in the chat. We're in the school community. You guys can get all the value that you need so that you're set up for success. You have a trading system. You have your ability to actually control your risk management, your emotions. You're not wilding out. And then the ability for you to think long term as well. So go ahead, guys. Make sure that you are at least involved. You're working on the craft every day. And I'll see you guys in a few hours. So enjoy the rest of the session and make calculated decisions, my friends. All right. I'll catch you guys in a few hours. Peace.